Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zack, and today I am driving a 2012 Chevy Express cargo van. Up front is a 4.3 liter V6, and down below is a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be making this video here today because I love the Chevy Express van. But I love it for a reason that you probably wouldn't think. This car has gone pretty much unchanged since the early 2000s. I'm driving a 2012 here, but it could be an 06. It could be a 2025. There are very little changes, and so that's the reason for the title that we'll get onto a little bit later on. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form, takes under a minute to fill out. I come out to you, and if you would like to see all my videos weeks or months before they're released here on YouTube, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. And huge thank you to North Naperville Autos for letting me borrow their express cargo van for today's video. More about them towards the end of the video, but if you'd like to browse their inventory, you could do so with their website down below. But let's get back to that 4.3 liter V6. Well, that is really technology from the early 90s. The Vortec V6 we got in like the S10 of the late 90s, the base engine for the Silverado, and vehicles of yesteryear. This is the only vehicle that it's still in production for. It works well. It's a pretty solid V6 for what it's trying to accomplish. However, it is just incredibly outdated, a phrase that will be used quite a bit throughout today's video. Like I said, paired to it is a 4-speed automatic transmission, another outdated part, but it does the job and we don't really have to complain. Now, this has been updated since 2012. The modern Express van actually has a 6-speed, but a minuscule jump in retrospect. Last but not least, this particular Express van is rear-wheel drive. However, you could find them in all-wheel drive, which is kind of interesting. How does it feel to drive the cargo Express van? Well, as you can probably hear in my voice, it's very tinny in here, but it drives like any truck or utility vehicle from the era. You sit up high, you could see the roofs of most cars around you, even in today's SUV age. Steering isn't too heavy, throttle response doesn't really make a gosh darn difference, and it's a utility vehicle. Visibility is really good out the front. I will say, it's not good out the back for obvious reasons because there are no rear windows for the cargo variant, and so I depend on my mirrors a lot, but forward visibility is really good. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior because it's quite the mishmash of GM parts bin from the last 3 decades. Well, in front of me, I have 5 gauges. Off to the left is my coolant temperature and oil pressure. In the center is my speedometer. And off to the right is my battery voltage and fuel. On the steering wheel, on the left, we have our cruise control, and that's it. This is pulled pretty much straight out of a mid to late 2000s Silverado. Off to the left, we do have a climate vent as well as some buttons for our gauge cluster information screen, like distance till empty, trip odometers, things like that. And down below, we have our headlight switch and dome light on and off. On the door, we have power mirrors and power windows. And moving into the center, we have our climate controls. Fan speed off to the left, temperature in the center, where to send it off to the right, as well as we do have heated mirrors, which is a really nice option to have here in the Express van. Down below, we have the radio that is seen in pretty much every GM product from this era. Nothing new there. And down below, we have a 12-volt outlet, traction control off, as well as up above that, we actually have the trailer button for trailer mode. And off to the far right, we have 2 more climate vents and a 12-volt outlet for the passenger because the vehicle is so wide. We do have 3 cup holders down below, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test, and no matter the decade, the Express van passes the big friggin' bottle test. We do have a giant openable cubby. I can only imagine how many documents and work items have been put in here in the many decades since this van's release. But then we don't get any main center console. The seats are comfortable. They are warm and cozy here on this frigid morning. However, they're very outdated. These look straight out of the 90s or early 2000s. I feel like Tony Soprano was rolling around in a seat like this in his GMT 400. However, I like that. I actually prefer that, so I'm not complaining today. Now, we don't have any back seats, but we will get out and take a tour of the rear cargo area. All right, avoiding the goose poop as much as possible. We do have two giant doors on the side of the Chevy Express van. However, this is only on the passenger side and not on the driver's side. Opening it up here, we have a latch here and then a little latch here. Pull it open, and there you go. We have the back cargo space of the Chevy Express van. Literally nothing to talk about. This was used for plumbers or for DIYers or, any businesses that needed to transport things that didn't need a semi. Well, you could use one of these. You could even rent one of these from U-Haul. If you want to experience yourself the glory of the Chevy Express van and want to do it here in the United States, you can rent one for like $20 an hour or something like that. So that is it. If you're curious about things like that, I will step up in here. And unfortunately, this isn't a high top model, so I can't stand in here. I can't stand! I'm 5'11", and I am still like hunched over, and my head is still hitting the ceiling. So funny enough, we do retain an interior lock and door handle back here, obviously for safety reasons, the jack and whatnot found in there, but we will hop out. You have to close this door first. There we go. There we go. Come around the back. And then we have this other door. We can open it like that. Other door like this. And there you go. These will fold all the way out, as you could see. Walk it out like this. And there you go. That is the rear opening of the Chevy Express van. I hope that answers some questions that you might have before you pick up yours, put a bed in the back, and go to Yosemite National Park. I know some of you watching this are planning on doing that. So, coming around here, close it up. There you go. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and it's fine. As a van, I think it looks presentable. It looks neat enough. It's fine. It does the job. I'm not worried about it. I just laugh or giggle at the intro because it's so unchanged. They have kept the same look for 20 years. And that to me is just comical. So this looks good. The 2013 looks good. The 2014 looks good. The 2015 looks good. The 2016 looks good. The 2017 looks good. The 2018 looks good. 2019 looks good. So, there's not a whole lot of review going in there. But with that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the Chevy Express van from some point in the past? Well, I actually really like this. I do like the 4.3 liter V6. I think it's a good engine. The 4-speed is a little tired and a little low of gears for this era, but as I mentioned, they've amended that since 2012. Why did I name this video American Communism? No, I'm not making a political statement. Has nothing to do with who has been or who is currently in office. What I mean by that is, in communist countries, when they develop cars and build cars, of which I've driven, like the Lada Niva, like the Lada 2106, like the Skoda Favorite, and most famously like the Trabant. What's interesting about those cars is that they didn't need to conform to any certain standards besides the fact that they had to work. Those cars don't have to please anyone. There's no market research done before building them. They're not thinking, oh, is a single mother of two going to be able to enjoy this vehicle? No. They say, hey, we need a car. Here's a car. There you go. And oftentimes, you couldn't even go buy one. You had to enter into a lottery system and hope and pray to God that you would get a slot to get one. You didn't get to pick your color. You didn't get to pick your interior. You didn't get to pick your engine choices or amenities. No. You were lucky enough to just get a vehicle. And so within that, comes a very interesting space where there was no design. There was no trying to please the buyers because they had no choice. And so they produced these cars for years and years and years. The Lada Niva, key example, where the only major update they've had since the 1970s was power windows. The same goes with this van. This van, you don't have to please anyone. Chevy doesn't have to do market research for their Express van. They know that every single year they're going to sell these no matter what it looks like, no matter what it drives like. It drives good enough, it looks good enough, and they called it a day. Because these are purchased by businesses. These aren't sold really to regular people. That same single mother of two isn't looking for a Chevy Express cargo van. She's buying a Kia Carnival. She's buying a Tahoe, which they do put thought and effort into. She might be buying the new GMC Acadia, which is fantastic and looks nice. They have to update those cars every few years to keep them current and relevant and people interested. But not this! Not this, baby! They don't give a rat's top hat if people like it or not. They're gonna buy them because businesses need them. And so you would think at some point it would level off. And recent year sales, I'll show the sales numbers I could find from carsales.org or whatever. They are starting to decline, but they're still selling over 40,000 units a year, and they're not spending money on commercials. They're not spending money on research and design. They're not spending money on new parts. So this is kind of a cash cow for them to sell to businesses. And I thought that these would be horribly outdated and that I could grab one easily, but I went to my Chevy dealer that I normally work with, and I said, hey, you know, in the winter months, I'm gonna grab a 2025 Chevy Express van and do a video if that's cool. And the Chevy dealer said, good luck. We've been sold out of them for months. Anyone that gets to the dealership is already spoken for. And I went, oh, I didn't realize. And so we probably won't get an update here in 2025 for the new Express van. We probably won't get an update in 2026 or maybe even 2027 because it doesn't need to. It doesn't need to be updated. It still works, and that's all that matters. So this is the closest we can get here in America to buying a brand new communist car. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to North Naperville Autos for letting me borrow their Chevy Express van for today's video. They are absolutely wonderful to work with. I have filmed so many of their vehicles, and they always have fun and interesting cars on the lot. Like this Express van, they've also had Ford Transits and other vans. If you are looking at building a van life vehicle, they are the ones to go to. They offer 48 state shipping as well as mobile detailing, so they will set you straight here in Naperville or across the country. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.